say about what Stephen A. Smith has said? Oh boy, where do I begin with this one? First, let me just get this out of the way. Hey guys, it's me, Vinny. I came with another video. Okay, first I want to get this out of the way. I have nothing but respect for Stephen A. Smith as a sports broadcaster. He has been cemented himself as the face of ESPN, the face of the sports network that the entire world watches. He is ESPN at this point. When you think of personalities at ESPN today, you think of Stephen A. Smith. And there's a big reason why. First off, he's getting the most amount of money out of everyone else in the network. First Take gets a lot of ratings, and he's known for making a lot of content. He's known for getting the pot stirring with hot takes and ideas and saying blasphemous and bona fide scrub and accident waiting to happen, all these other very terms that basically you could argue sets a lot of people off. And of course, we all know that he's done a lot of stuff in regards to wanting to push forward an idea of having black people more included within the dynamic of America. And I appreciate the man a lot for that. However, I cannot get over what he says here. Stephen A. Smith, mind you, a guy that barely talks anything about baseball unless it's talking about the Astros scandal or complaining about the game, as so many other people seem to do. I mean, he goes on to criticize Shohei Ohtani. Now, why would you criticize Shohei Ohtani first off? He is basically the Babe Ruth of today. He's the first guy ever to be an all-star, both as a hitter and as a pitcher. No one else has ever done that for at least at least for the last 100 years. But that has not happened in a very, very long time, if ever. This guy is also leading the majors in home runs, and he's also a great pitcher too. He is dominant. He is one of the faces of the league now. You got to accept it. Simple as that. But not Stephen A. Smith. No, 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 no. For him, he says that a guy like Shohei Ohtani being the face of the league, that's not good for the league. That's bad. That's bad for baseball. Why? Remember, he said, how? Why? It's Shohei Ohtani. He's leading the majors in home runs, and he's also a quality pitcher. I mean, him or Vlad Jr. are probably going to win, MVP potentially if the second half follows how the first has been. That's the thing. Stephen A. Smith doesn't like that. You know why? It's because he needs an interpreter to speak. I'm not joking. He said it himself. Watch the video. Stephen A. Smith flat out said that he personally thinks that having Shohei Ohtani as the face of baseball, or at least the American League, is bad because he has an interpreter with him. Hello? Excuse me? Stephen A., listen to this. When you're watching a game, how many people care about what the player has to say? How many people care about what the manager has to say? How many people care about what the executive or the owner has to say of the matter? It doesn't matter. All that people care about is watching them pitch or hit or field or run, anything. They're not interested in to see what they have. Oh, the media cares. Oh, yeah, the media cares. But the actual person? They don't care. The actual individual cares. And I'm sorry, Stephen A., you may not like this, but guess what? A lot of people, not just in Japan, but everywhere else around the globe that plays this wonderful game, has an interpreter with them sometimes because even though they may understand the language, they need to make sure they're perfect because they don't want to see the media, such as yourself, Stephen A., to take yourself out of context or butcher it. Oh yeah, he does say things to get views, Eric. It's absolutely ridiculous. And even though one could say this is what journalism become, I would argue this is kind of how journalism, in a sense, kind of has always been to an extent. You're just seeing it much more widespread now because you have everyone with a phone, everyone has an opinion, and Stephen A. Smith knows that. But you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of a distant relative of mine that I've seen. And one time I remember him saying that he was upset that a game like baseball has Latino players from Cuba or players from the Dominican Republic or Venezuela. You know why he's upset about that? It's because according to this guy, Oh yeah, I have seen it, Eric. I love Kwame Brown. He was not a bona fide scrub. I mean, he lasted for 13 years. You're not a scrub if you do that. Yeah, he was disappointing, but he wasn't a scrub. I mean, Adam Morrison, that's a different story. Anthony Bennett, different story. Kwame Brown, not so much. But going on what I'm saying, like a big reason with this relative, the way that he thought this, yeah, I agree. He said that he hated seeing these foreign players play the game because, and this was his words, my relative's words, he said, and I quote, they're stealing spots away from hardworking Americans. Excuse me. That is probably that is one of the most racist terms I've ever seen in person. That's what he said. The Latino players are stealing spots from Americans. They worked so hard, and this Latino just took it from them. This guy, Altuve, he's Venezuelan. Oh, Vlad Jr., yeah, he's I forgot what Dominican Republic. Oh, there's all these other guys. They're Cuban. Chapman's Cuban. Ugh. They took it from these Americans that worked so hard for it. They stole it from them. Why can't baseball be just Americans playing? Here's the thing. I'm not going to say your name because I don't want to expose you or dox you or anything. But guess what? That's very racist. That is very, very racist. Yeah, they generally do play, but over in like Latin America, they play baseball. A lot of them play baseball. Like to say some disgusting words like that, guess what? They were just better players. And a lot of times there's a lot of players in like Cuba or Japan. A lot of them don't want to come to America because they just don't want to deal with it. Comments like Stephen A. Smith are why so many great players like Nagahashi and and many others, and many of these other NBP guys, even Tanaka, a lot of them who eventually came. A lot of these guys, historically, yeah, they might not have had a chance, but a lot of times, even though you see a couple more now, you hardly see them because they just don't want to deal with it. They have a lot of pride. The Japanese baseball league doesn't have a lot of money, and a lot of times they stay there to support it and to make sure that they gain a lot of money. Yeah, you have guys like Ichiro Suzuki, or Hideki Matsui, but these guys, or Shohei Ohtani now, but these guys are rare and too far between. That doesn't mean Japan's players suck. It doesn't mean that their talent's bad. Quite the opposite. It's fantastic. They just sometimes don't want to play in America, and that's fine. So you tell them, and like this is also the case too. Cooperstown, they don't want to have anyone from Japan in there. And their idea, only MLB is the best. Not true, not necessarily. I mean, this is also the same Hall of Fame that doesn't have the guy that invented the shortstop position, Doc Adams, or all these other rules. They don't want to have the guy that made the Louisville Slugger what it is, Pete Browning. They don't want to have Tip O'Neill, not the speaker, the baseball player. They don't want to have all these other guys in. And they don't want to have all these Japanese legends that, like a lot of the black players, had no chance. They had no choice but to stay there. They had no choice. They literally had no choice. They were forced to stay there, and some of them still kind of do. But instead, they're going to punish them and degrade them and say they aren't good enough. And still with Stephen A., again, you have so many great players in this game of baseball. So many of these people still think that baseball is America's pastime. Yeah, it is America's pastime. But you know the thing about America too? You know what? Have you heard of the term Americanizing? Americanizing is when you take the ideas of America and then it spreads throughout. Think of like McDonald's, for instance, or like Subway or Burger King, or all these other big national brands that were big in America but are also large everywhere else. You're seeing that too with talent. Look at basketball. Basketball gets that. I mean, for Christ's sakes, the last two MVPs were Giannis Antetokounmpo, a Greek player, and Nikola Jokic, a Serbian player. The game has grown, and basketball understands that. The NBA gets that. FIBA gets that. And that is a big reason why basketball is the fastest growing sport in America. That's why basketball is the fastest growing sport in the world. Guys like that, so many other legends, all throughout the game. Tony Kukoc made the Hall of Fame because of his impacts on Croatia. Again, basketball gets this. Hockey even. Hockey has, yeah, even the NFL. Even the NFL, even though they don't have a lot of guys from foreign places, a big reason why the NFL has been so big with the international series, a big reason why they've been doing games in the UK, and the reason why they want to do it in Germany is because they know that they want their sport of American football, gridiron football. If they want that to be big, they need to expand upon it. I know that there might be some fans that say otherwise, but guess what? The proof is in the pudding, and the pudding says to expand. It's to expand the game. That's how you grow. The NBA gets it, the NHL gets it, the NFL gets it. But the MLB, even though they've done that, a lot of their fans still try to cling on to the idea that it must only be in America. Are you kidding me? Are you absolutely out of your mind? This is why baseball has not been succeeding. It's not because of Ohtani. It's not because of Tatis and Vlad Jr. or all these other legendary players. Oh, yeah. You've had so many instances. I mean, the sport, you've had the Pete Rose stuff, you had the steroids, the spider tech, you had the sign stealing, so much other stuff. That actually has hurt the game. That actually has impacted the popularity of the sport. But do you want to know what hasn't? Do you want to know what has not impacted the popularity of the sport? What's actually helped the popularity of the sport is having these legends from all these other walks of life, and not just America, but Canada, Dominican Republic, Japan, South Korea, Venezuela, Cuba, all these other places. It's not just America, guys. The Mexican League's a big thing, too. Again, Israel, baseball is very big. Baseball occasionally is in the Olympics. They're in the Olympics this year. Israel's there. Japan's there. All these places. It's not just America's game. If you want the game to grow, I mean, a big reason why soccer or football is the largest sport. Oh, yeah. But the thing is, I hate saying this, but I think a big reason as to why they're not going to punish Stephen A. Smith, in fact, the guy has actually doubled down on his stances. The reason as to why is because he is the network at this point. They know that if they don't have Stephen A. Smith, they're not going to be relevant and they're not going to lose much money. And granted, it doesn't help. It has nothing to do with politics. It's all to do with the fact that because of streaming and because of live streaming, like that's why ESPN Plus is big. Stephen A. Smith has his own show on ESPN Plus. He has his own slot, his own time slot on SportsCenter every single day. Well, yeah, I mean, look at of course, I love TNT's broadcast even better than I like ESPN's. I like ABC's. But I love TNT's even more. I mean, with all this stuff with ESPN, with Rachel Nichols, now with Stephen A. Smith, like, oh my God. Can you blame people for feeling that the media is still racist? Can you blame people for feeling that still? I mean, I'm not shocked. I mean, Dick Allen, for instance, this guy was persecuted and racially marginalized so much. And, you know, they didn't make it. He didn't make the Hall of Fame because this year, mainly because the people at Cooperstown didn't think, they thought it was too pure for Zoom. And guess what? The guy died in December. And this goes back to hell. Even football's not afraid of this. I mean, football is the only sport in which their first ever black player, Charles Follis, is not in the Hall of Fame. Jackie Robinson's in. Earl Lloyd's in. You have Willie O'Ree in. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Trump also knew that people have that skepticism of the media, and there is truth to that. But like I was saying, football is the only one in which they don't have the first ever black player in the Hall of Fame. And you can't blame people for feeling that the media is racist. You can't blame people for feeling that way when they themselves do not properly recognize people that have made massive contributions to it. And they make claims like, oh, not everyone needs it. Well, yeah, obviously not everyone needs it. But guess what? This guy needs it. And while you could say they honor it in other ways, people don't care unless they're in the Hall of Fame. That's just a fact. They can say whatever they want. But that's just a simple state of the matter. Same thing here. People aren't really going to care about A big reason why people also care about Negro Leagues is because there was enough pressure and enough people that wanted to make the Negro Leagues popular. And a big reason why they did that was by putting some of their guys in the Hall of Fame. You don't have that for Japan still. You still don't have a lot of legends for the NFL at all. Basketball's done that. Hockey's done a bit of it. But football and especially baseball kind of still haven't. And you can't blame people for feeling that there's racism, because there is still racism. I mean, look at England. England, after losing the Euro Cup, the 3 players that had penalty kicks they missed, they had said so much racist stuff. Yeah, we should. Hit me up. You know my phone number, Eric. Yeah. It's absolutely insane. Just absolutely insane. The world is growing. A lot of these people still think that the game is losing popularity because of you. You are the reason why. People like you are the reason why it's losing popularity, Stephen A. Smith. And you don't know jack about baseball. Why are you talking about baseball? Go back to speaking about basketball. That's what you're good at. That's what you're good at. And there's a lot of guys that do that in the industry. I get it, but to say that the sport is losing popularity because he needs an interpreter? Not everyone knows English. Sorry, bud. You don't come there to learn English. You come there to play the game, and play the game in a super uber high level. And that's what Ohtani has done. Ohtani is going to maybe be, along with either him or Vlad Jr., they have a chance to be the MVP of the game. The MVP of the AL. And look at the NL. Tatis looks like he's going to be winning it. Had a chance with Acuna, but now that he's done for the season, going to be Tatis maybe. And guess what? All those 4 guys I mentioned, not a single one of them are from America. All of them, Puerto Rico, Japan. Yeah. Yeah, at this point, can you blame people for... This is why I criticize the Associated Press. Because what made the Associated Press the gold standard of everything? It's just the opinions of 50 people. It's just the opinions of several people. It's not the opinion of everyone. I mean, there's sporting news, there's the Writers Associations, there's many publications. Why are we still having these archaic formulas when they don't have a whole group? Yes, the Associated Press is nice, but we should not use them as the only sole bearing. I mean, it's like the Oscars. I mean, what makes the Oscars the ultimate honor? What makes it that? Why? Because it's the oldest? That's not true. That's not really the best terminology, because a lot of times the Oscars is known for favoring certain genres, favoring certain actors, favoring certain races. I mean, there's the Golden Globes. There's the Saturn Awards. They're the many of these other publications. They're the British Academy Awards. There's so many different awards. What makes the Oscars? What makes it different? So that because they have a statue of what appears to be Voldemort dipped in gold? No, we shouldn't do that. It's just the opinions of a few trying to dictate the voices of the many. And that's why we need to have these alternate voices. It's now, granted, to be fair, I'm not saying that when it comes to like facts. But these are awards. A lot of these awards are people's opinions. Hear that? Opinions. Well, then these opinion people dictate the facts, assuming that like everyone should have subscribed by it. That's the consensus among 50 people. Like 50 people? 50 people? You're not letting the fans have a chance? Why? Because fans are stupid? Yeah, opinions aren't facts. They're opinions. A fact is a fact. A fact is objective. An opinion is subjective. But these people are letting the very few have their opinion and let that change the discord to the point that people feel like it's a fact. And the same thing here. The idea that Japanese players aren't good, this is just a long-standing opinion that's just fake. There was an opinion for so long that black players can't handle it. I mean, with Becky Hammon, I mean, I'm very, very happy that Chauncey Billups has this job. He's future Hall of Famer. He deserves it. But you can't blame people for feeling that way about Becky Hammon. You can't blame that because The idea, oh, women can't make good head coaches. Excuse me? Look at women's basketball. You have both men and women coaching it. Who says that a woman can't do that at a high level? I mean, granted, yeah, it depends on how they actually perform, but actually getting it is another thing. It's not like with politics where they do it just to get a vote. Even some, yes, so many of them are. Latin American, Latin, Asian, Cuban, so many. A lot of them are better than. Again, if it's the best of the best, why are you saying that the guys that don't look like you are the best? I mean, Stephen A. Smith, you pander so much to the black community, and I appreciate you for doing that. Black lives matter, Stephen A. But guess what? All life should also matter to you too. The Asian life should matter. The Latino life should matter. The Pacific Islander life should matter. If you want it to be inclusive, if you want it to be objective, you should take this away because he is not from America. So obviously he's not going to know English as much. You need to have an interpreter there just in case. Many Spanish players have that. Ronald Acuna Jr. has that. Now there's some that know it better than others. But you need an interpreter there because that's just the way it is. Not everyone's going to know English. Yes, English has become like the gold standard of the voices of these speaking patterns. But a lot of them still don't. A lot of times they do either a national pride or they're just not as comfortable. That's just a fact. Like look at all the summit meetings. Yeah, they have people that speak English, but it's very, very broken. Yeah, as Terrell Owens said, maybe Max Kellerman is more black than Stephen A. Smith, which is kind of funny to me because Stephen A. Smith always keeps saying everything's a black issue. And yeah, we should focus on that. But Stephen A., while you're advocating for the lives of black people, you're being very hypocritical for the lives and the approachability of people that are not black. To say that Asians need to speak in order to be good, to grow the game, you need to speak English. There's a lot of people that don't speak English in this world, bud. Spanish is actually spoken more than English. Fun fact, I don't know if you knew that. And yeah, China is the most spoken language in the world, but that's just because there's so many people in China. But in terms of global, so many people speak Spanish. That's why they have interpreters. I mean, Spanish is the second most spoken language in America, and a lot of places actually have Spanish-speaking places because there's many Spanish-speaking Americans. That's just a fact. And I remember, at high school, you had many exchange students from China. There was no interpreters there, and you didn't really understand what they were trying to say. And when they did speak English, it was still kind of broken. And interpreters really needed. Even actual summit meetings, when people actually speak in political stuff, they have translators. Because they know that some things are going to be not so good. Yes, he is like that. So many of these journalists, like Stephen A. Smith, they just act like politicians. They lie to your face. They act one thing, but do something completely different. They're basically like politicians. It's disgusting. All they're just doing is say, oh, we care about you. We care about you. We care about you so much. And then when actually push comes to shove, they don't do it. They go back on their promises. Someone else obstructs it, but they just turn back on it. They ignore it. They just do it because they want your vote. They want the power. And Stephen A. Smith wants the power. And I think this is why we need to have these Japanese voices come out. Now, as someone who follows Nintendo or like Sega, I've criticized a lot of the Japanese divisions of these places. But it's not because they're Japanese. A lot of these people get upset because they are Japanese. People talk about stop Asian hate. Stephen A. Smith, listen to you. You talk about equality. But newsflash, I hate to say it to you, but black people historically have been the ones that have attacked Asians the most. Now, it's not like a Vincent Chin situation where you had two white people beat him up because they said, oh, the Japanese people, they're stealing our jobs. Let's kill him because he did that, his kind did that to us. I mean, it's a similar situation. They said, oh, the game is ruined, and it's all because you can't speak English. How disgusting is that? I understand. He knows what he's saying. He knows what he's saying. At first, I didn't know at first, but after seeing it, he deserves to be criticized. And I know the whole outrage machine, people are going to move on from it. The party's bad and that this party is no good and it was yeah, everyone says that everyone from this people, they're horrible individuals, they're horrible human beings, they want to destroy you, they want to divide you, they want to do this, and the other side, no, you're a horrible human being. You take away our freedoms, you take away our values, you're gonna destroy us. Like I see from both sides. I do see from both sides. They insult, like CNN and Fox News, they just Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson just paddle the tennis ball. They just tennis insults off each other. He basically, Don Lemon insults Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson says something. Don Lemon insults him. Tucker Carlson insults him back. Insult. Can these guys just debate already? Seriously, you guys talk so big by themselves, but when you're actually confronted, let's see how it goes. I want to see Stephen A. Smith actually say this to a Japanese person. I want to see Stephen A. Smith actually speak to, I want him to actually speak to Shohei Ohtani. I want him to speak to players in Japan. I want him to actually speak to them. Oh, yeah. There's a lost cause. Why do you think there's people in Texas that are going to D.C. because they want to see stuff change? Why do you think you want to see people in, like, Eastern Oregon go to Idaho? I honestly think this country is too far gone. I do. Unity does not exist. Yeah, unity, you could argue, has never existed, but I think it's prevalent than ever that these people just can't work with each other. Yeah, he should. People want to preach unity, but at the same time, people still hate on Kamala Harris. Trump still has a huge base, and because they're so indedicated to him, oh my God. If anything, Stephen A. Smith is just as bad as the people he says. Because with them, at least, they say it as it is. With Stephen A. Smith, he just lies to your face. Because he doesn't know any better. And he blames other people for your problems. When in reality, it's people like him, Skip Bayless. And shout out to Kwame Brown. Shout out to Kwame Brown for clapping back at the go along, get along game. I love it. Kwame, you're the man. I salute you. Keep up the good work. Yeah, that's true, Eric, and many of us here do. Like, I want to see Kwame Brown speak about this controversy. I want to see his reaction, because if there's anyone want to see a reaction from this Stephen A. Smith nonsense, it's two people: Shohei Ohtani himself and Kwame Brown. Because Stephen A. Smith became the face of ESPN because, oh yeah, we should talk to Zenny. Hey, try to get in touch with Kwame Brown, or maybe Zenny could speak to. They need to, or maybe Zenny can come on his program, or Kwame can come on their program. Let's see how it goes. I mean, Kwame, he's done an outstanding job, and he's making the voice of the unheard finally heard. And his career and his image has been ruined because of people like Stephen A. Smith. Can you blame him for feeling this way? I mean, he deserves to speak his mind. And he's now a successful YouTuber, and he's going to continue to push his platform for change because he has it. He has that opportunity. I am so happy for this. But we need more people like Kwame Brown and less people like Stephen A. Smith. Because Stephen A. Smith, even though he's all big for equality, instead he just degrades other people. So many people in the media just degrade and insult and belittle and just destroy and say you're not good enough and degrade you. Even though the terms like compile and very good, those have become very poisonous words. But Kwame Brown knows that. He's taken he's not part of the go along, get along game. He does it. He says it, but in reality, he just degrades them. He degrades Cam Newton. He's degraded, all these other guys, and it's saying everything's a race issue, and with it's ridiculous. But anyway, guys, Eric, thank you so much for also watching. Everyone else, I'm going to get ready for the home run derby to see Shohei Ohtani. By the way, the #1 seed, leading the league in majors. I like Dan Patrick. Keith Olbermann's disgusting too. Keith Olbermann, I can't stand. Coward, I'm not too crazy about, but Keith Olbermann's terrible. Like, I hate to say that, but Keith Olbermann has been saying some pretty disgusting things. He's insulted, say what you will about Curt Schilling, but degrading his fan base, insulting people of Texas, saying that you don't deserve the vaccine. I mean, come on, man. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here. Seriously, it's ridiculous. So many of these people They need to actually speak with these individuals. I want to see how this discussion goes. Like Skip Bayless has spoken with Terrell Owens. Yeah. Okay, Eric. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like the video, hit subscribe, notification bell for more. Anyway, guys, I'll see you next time, and go Shohei Ohtani. I want to see you win this home run derby now. Do it for Stephen A. I'm sure he'll love it. Anyway, guys, see you.